All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all for being here for the LeadSafe Lincoln lead service line replacement virtual meeting. My name is Alyssa Vaughn, and I'm with JEO Consulting Group. I'm a community engagement specialist helping out the City of Lincoln and their team during this program. I'm going to ask the city team to give a few introductions to themselves, and then we'll get started. As a quick housekeeping notes, this meeting is being recorded and it will be added to the LeadSafe Lincoln website following today's presentation. And if you have any questions, we ask that you please put those in the chat or the Q&A section of the meeting, and we will get to those after our presentation. So with that, I'm going to start with Allison, and then if you will please pass it over to your team.
Yeah, thanks, Alyssa. I'm Allison Hanson, Facility Operations Coordinator for Lincoln Water System and the Lead Service Line Replacement Program Manager here. Steve, you want to go next? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, my name is Steve Owen. I currently serve as the Lincoln Water System Division Manager.
And then Donna, if you don't mind giving a quick introduction.
Yes, hi, I'm Donna Garden. I'm the Assistant Director for Lincoln Transportation Utilities, handling utilities of water, wastewater, solid waste, and watershed.
And then Dave.
Yeah, hello, I'm Dave Calkins, and I manage the service department for Lincoln Water System.
And then finally, Erica.
Hello, I'm Erica Hill. I do help with communications for Lincoln Transportation Utilities.
All right, thank you all for those introductions. And again, for those who are just joining, we are recording this meeting that will be posted on the LeadSafe Lincoln website following today's presentation. If you have any questions, please put those in the chat or the Q&A section of today's meeting. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the City of Lincoln team to start our presentation. We'll have about 30 minutes of presentation, and then we will go into a Q&A session following that. So as you have questions, again, please add those to the chat and the Q&A, and I'll let Donna start us off.
Thank you very much, and welcome to everyone for joining us today about the LeadSafe Lincoln Lead Service Line Replacement Program. We're really excited to be here to talk about it, and hopefully you'll get a lot of good information. But before we start, I wanted to give you a little background on Lincoln Water System and all of the things that we do there. And if you'll go to the next slide, please. This is just a really short little description of all of the things that we do with Lincoln Water System. We have 44 wells, and they're quite a ways away. We have our wells in Ashland, Nebraska, and our 2 treatment plants in Ashland, Nebraska. About 26 miles we've got to get to Lincoln with all of the water that we use. And in the wintertime, somewhere around 30 million gallons a day. In the summertime with irrigation, we get up to 75 million gallons a day. A lot of water comes to Lincoln. Lots of pipe. Look at all those miles, 1,386 miles of pipe in the city that we maintain. And then there's an assortment of other things that we maintain also. It's a very big system, and this project is a little different for us because most of this project involves private lines. Normally, the Lincoln Water System does not get involved in private lines, but this program allows us to do this work. And we think it's very important work for the city of Lincoln to get the lead out. This whole project is funded by Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, and that act actually provided funds to the state revolving fund. That revolving fund provides loans to all municipalities that have lead service lines. And fortunately, the loan has a sizable amount of forgiveness associated with it, so we can provide this free of cost to the homeowner. And that's what this program's about. And I'm going to turn it over to Allison now to tell us all about the program.
All right, thanks, Donna. All right, so I'm gonna jump right in with some of the 3 burning questions people usually have when we start talking about lead service lines. So we can hopefully get those answered, or at least let you know where you can find the answer. First of all, what is a lead service line? So a lead service line is the pipe that connects a building or a home to the city's water main. And it's this brownish pipe here, and it's primarily composed of two different parts. We call it the supply pipe. That's the section of pipe between the water main and your curb stop, which is the valve that you can shut the water, well, not you, but the water system can shut your water off. It's usually located in the boulevard between the street and the sidewalk. And then the other section of the service line is called the service pipe. That's from the curb stop into the building or the water meter. And as Donna said, they are privately owned. They're owned by the property owner. And the next thing people usually want to know is, do I have a lead service line? Service lines come in a variety of materials. Most service lines in Lincoln are copper, but we do have some lead and galvanized service lines. We also have some different types of plastic out there as well. So how you can figure out what material you have is by checking our records. The Lincoln Water System maintains records that plumbers submit, and then when our staff goes out and conducts inspections whenever work is done on a service line, it gets recorded into our database. Now, these records span many years, going back to the late 1800s, and they're not perfect, but we do have a pretty good system. And there's really no way to know for sure what pipe material you have without digging it up, but checking our records is a really good place to start. And also knowing the age of your home and whether or not you need to be concerned about a lead service line is also important. So if your home is built after, or service lines were not installed before were not installed after 1950. So if you have a newer home, this is not something that you need to be concerned about. If your home is 1950 or older, there is a chance that you could have a lead service line. So we do have this map online. You can go to our website at lincoln.ne.gov/water service line map, or click on this QR code, and it'll take you to a map where you can enter your address and look up what our records show for your service line material. I can give a demonstration of this at the end of the presentation if anyone is interested. You can also check your water. I feel like I missed a slide. Did I miss a slide? Must be later on. Okay. So you can also see part of your service line where it enters your home. So right before the water meter, the water meter is usually located in the basement or your crawl space. And that water pipe is underground and then enters your home. And right where it enters your home before the water meter, you can check the pipe material there. And that will let you see at least a section of your service line. We call it the magnet and penny test, because all you really need is a magnet and a penny for this test. If you can scratch the metal, sometimes it's covered in paint, which can be a little misleading what material it is, or it's oxidized, change color. So give it a fresh scratch, check what color it is. If it is the color of a penny, then it is a copper pipe. If it's gray, you can use a magnet to determine, is it lead or is it galvanized iron? And the magnet will only stick to the galvanized iron pipe. It will not stick to a lead pipe. And if this seems like too much work for you, you can sit back and wait until this fall. We will be notifying all residents and property owners with a lead or a lead contaminated galvanized service line, or a possibly lead/unknown service line by November 16th, 2024. We are required to do that by a new federal regulation, to send out a letter based on what our records indicate you have for a service line. It'll let you know this will only be going out to homes with these possible lead service lines. So if you receive one of those in the mail, that means that our records do show that you are likely to have one of these service lines. And we'll be giving those out annually thereafter. And then the third question is, am I in the current program area? So we do have plans to replace all lead service lines in the city, but there are, I'll get to this a little bit later, but it's going to take a little while. So we're getting started in Census Tract 5 and Census Tract 18. So this is primarily the North Bottoms neighborhood, a little bit of Woods, some Holly and Malone, and a little bit of downtown right there. So if you're not in those areas, hang tight. We will be getting to you. We have a goal to get all the service lines out by 2035. If you are in those areas, hopefully you've already received some sort of mailing. We've mailed to all the residents in there to give them a heads up about this program. And then we've done other outreach to the property owners to inform them of the program and get them to sign up. If you are if you do own property in these project areas and you have not heard from us, it probably means we do not have a current mailing address for you. So if you want to call in and give us your contact information, that would be great. We also have a link on our website where you can just sign up directly. And I will get to that. So we always want to start out a conversation about lead with pointing out that our water is safe to drink. We do meet or exceed all the federal and state standards for drinking water. And when it comes to lead, we have been historically trending downward. This graph here shows our compliance sampling results for lead. We have to sample in homes that have lead plumbing. Right now, our sampling is done from a minimum of 25 homes with copper and lead solder and a minimum of 25 homes with lead service lines. That is going to change with the new regulations that they're putting out. We will be shifting, they're having the nation switch from focusing on copper with lead solder and switching to homes with lead service lines, because that really is a more significant source of lead than the lead solder is. And 90% of the homes that we sampled had less than 5 parts per billion of lead in the last 20 years. However, the reason we are talking about lead in water is because it's not lead comes from building plumbing, and I have another slide to show you for that. And because of this, lead can vary from one house to another. And the two main reasons for this is that some buildings have more lead plumbing, and then people use their water differently. So water usage patterns vary. Stagnant water collects more lead from lead plumbing. So the longer the water sits in a lead pipe, the more lead can accumulate in that water. So, where is lead found? Well, the water traveling through our water mains does not hold a detectable amount of lead, but once it goes through the privately owned plumbing inside of a building, it can pick up that lead. So we have the service line that connects the water main to the home. That can be a source of lead, but there can also be plumbing inside the home that can contribute lead. So here's a diagram showing possible sources of lead in a home. In 2014, they tightened up the definition of lead-free in plumbing. So if you want the latest and greatest lead-free fixtures, you're going to need to find one that was manufactured after 2014 or in 2014 or later. Lead solder was used until 1988 in Nebraska. Again, that's less of a concern now as those are aged and are coated with minerals, and they are just not bleaching as much as they did when it was brand new solder. And you can have lead and galvanized pipes inside a home. This program, of course, is focusing on the lead service lines, right here in highlighted in the yellow. And the reason for this kind of nationwide push for this is that homes with lead service lines, the service line typically contributes the greatest percentage of lead to the tap water. And cities across the nation are replacing lead and lead contaminated galvanized service lines. So Lincoln's Lead Safe Lincoln Lead Service Line Replacement Program is really a great opportunity for the city of Lincoln to use this money that is really unprecedented amount of money that the federal government is making available to the states, and then the states can make it available to water systems to use to get rid of these lead service lines. And even though the water systems don't necessarily own the service lines, the water systems are able to fully pay for the replacement using these funds. And these funds come with a significant loan forgiveness, which means that the water system doesn't need to pay back the full percentage of the cost to replace these service lines. So it's a heck of a deal. We can replace in homes and businesses. And like I said before, we do have a goal to replace all of these by 2035. Okay. So there are two types of service line pipes that'll be eligible for replacement. The first one is lead, and the second one is galvanized requiring replacement, or we also call it lead contaminated galvanized. And so what does that mean, right? What that means is a galvanized pipe is an iron pipe, and they are notorious for corroding on the inside. And when you have water traveling through, well, let me start with the definition. So galvanized pipes that are or were downstream from lead are contaminated with lead. So if we can picture this first section of pipe here between the water main and the curb stop, if that is lead, and then the second section, the service pipe between the curb stop and the meter is galvanized, the water travels through the lead first and then into the galvanized. And because that galvanized pipe is corroded and tuberculated, it has these layers that the lead particles can get trapped inside. And over time, it just kind of becomes part of that pipe. And the galvanized pipe can spit out chunks of this corroded inside randomly in the water and take some of that lead with it. So the iron that pipe's made out of is not a health hazard. That causes rusty water and can stain things. It's not pleasant, but it's not a health hazard. This lead that might be in there with the iron, that is of concern. So that is why the funding is that's why these lead contaminated galvanized lines are eligible to be replaced with the same funding that these lead pipes are being replaced with. So this is a picture showing where lead and galvanized requiring replacement service lines are found in the city. And as you can imagine or expect, these are in older homes, so you see them in the center of the city, in the older parts of the city. We have roughly 2,000 lead service lines and approximately 4,000 galvanized service lines that we will need to go through. So, how does one decide where to start with that big of a project. The city has some prioritization criteria, which were used to score census tracts to develop a timeline to work through them. This criteria involves risk to lead exposure, data showing elevated blood lead levels, and children, disadvantaged neighborhood data, and density of lead service lines confirmed in a neighborhood. So basically, which areas have the most lead, which and also there's an income component to it. So how the lead service line replacement program works in a nutshell. So first of all, the program has to come to your neighborhood. Property owners must sign an agreement for the work to be performed. Then we must verify that lead or lead contaminated galvanized service lines exist on the property, and they will then be replaced with copper. And the city will fully pay for the replacement, which typically costs between $5,000 to $10,000. So now I'm just going to take you through the steps of what it's like to get a service line replaced. So this is our 7-step guide, and this was sent to property owners, this same guide, so it might look familiar. Again, if you did not receive this information, it is available online, and you can also call into our office to request it. So step 1, notification. Lincoln Water System notifies the property owner with service lines that are likely to be lead or lead contaminated galvanized. And we send you this service line verification and replacement agreement. This is your ticket to a new service line. We do need the property owner to sign this and fill it out and return it to us. Again, you can do it through the mail. You can print it out online. You can do the DocuSign right on your phone through the link on the phone or link on the website. The second step is verification. A Lead Safe Lincoln team member will come out to examine your service line to verify that you do have lead or galvanized. And this is typically done at 2 places. At the meter, like I was saying before, where the service line enters your building. And then also it may be necessary to do a small excavation at the curb stop here out in where that shutoff valve is located. So here's just a diagram showing the same thing. So check for lead here at the water meter and check here at the curb stop. So then step 3 is evaluation. So if and it does happen, our records show lead, but when we dig it up, we find that it has already been replaced with copper and we just don't have a record of it. So if we find copper, that's good news. You're done. There's nothing to be replaced. But if we do find lead, then we come up with a replacement plan. The contractor will evaluate the unique needs of your property and determine what needs to be done, and we'll share that with the property owner before the work begins. Probably at the same time that plan is shared with you, the scheduling will take place. So you'll work directly with the contractor to schedule the work. And then number 5, it's the big replacement day. So this is when all the action happens. Replacements do typically get done in a day. And normally the water can be shut off for less than 2 hours. There can be there's always at least 1 hole in the yard, sometimes a second hole. And they will bore into your home and pull the new copper line into your home, and then connect you to that new copper line and disconnect you from your old lead service line. Okay. Oh, and I was, okay. So the replacement work itself can usually get done in a day, but like if they need to replace concrete, that might, of course, take a little bit longer. So step number 6, restoration. Basic property restoration is included. So that means that holes in your foundation, or holes in your wall will be patched, and any holes in the yard will be filled with dirt and seed will be applied. Any standard concrete that was damaged from this will be replaced. It does not include, restoration does not include cosmetic restoration. So things like painting or drywall will not be included. But we will give you $100 credit to the property owner's water bill to help cover any additional restoration. Oh, and taking care of those grass seeds will be the property owner's responsibility. Oh, at the end, where's step 7? Give me just a second. I'm going to stop sharing and see what happened.
While we get that presentation up and running, I just wanted to reach out to any of the attendees. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to put those in the chat. We've also put a couple of links and information into the chat as well. So the Lead Safe Lincoln program website is in there, lincoln.ne.gov/leadsafe. The Lincoln Water System phone number is 402-441-7571. And then we also put the link to the full complete 7-step guide that is on the website. So in addition to the 7-step guide, there's plenty of materials on there for you to review, take a look at follow up with Lincoln Water System for any additional questions that you might have. And I'll turn it back over to Allison.
Thanks for filling that uncomfortable silence we would have had otherwise. I don't know what's going on. The slideshow view won't let me go past slide 6, but I can get it this way. So this is step 7. We're nearly there. Post-work care. So your service line will come with a 2-year warranty from the plumber. You will get a free pitcher filter and some flushing instructions. The reason for that is because whenever you do any plumbing work on lead pipes, there is a possibility that some lead particles can be released and then enter your plumbing. The plumber will flush from the outside faucet first, and then you will need to do some flushing inside your home following the instructions that you're given. And then 3 to 4 months after the replacement, you will be sent a free lead test kit to confirm the safety of your water. So again, I just want to urge you to sign up for this program. It's a great opportunity to upgrade your property from an older water service line to a brand new copper one, and then at the same time, get rid of a potential source of lead for your residents. And let's see, my last slide is a QR code to take you to our website. So, I did say that I would show a demonstration of how to look up your service line. I can do that, or I can take questions.
Allison, if you want to go ahead and pull that up. Again, I don't see any questions or any additional information in the chat. If you have those, please let us know, or you can also raise your hand. There's a little hand icon at the top of your screen, and click on that and I will call on you for any questions you might have. Additional links we just added into the chat. So the agreement to sign up for the Lead Safe Lincoln Lead Service Line replacement program has been added. So we have agreements available online in both English and in Spanish. If there's another language that you feel more comfortable in that you would like us to translate and get that for you, please let us know. But I will let Allison go through the dashboard.
Yeah, so if you click on the link from our website or type in that URL, it'll take you to this page. And then you're welcome to find your property just using the map, or you can type it in. I will give you a heads up. It is sort of slow sometimes. So type your number slow, let it kind of populate what you need to pull up. Let's see. We can. How long this will take? But and if you see your address listed several times, it means that you have more than one service line. So I'm picking on our water department here. It took us to our address, and it is saying that we have a non-lead ductile iron service line. So if you remember that first slide, or one of the first slides, it showed the two parts of the service line. We have a supply pipe and a service pipe, and that is what these two squares are representing, the first section of pipe and the second section of pipe, because they can be different materials. I'm going to find, there are other categories, and red will indicate lead, yellow indicates galvanized, and then the dark blue would be unknown. So that's basically how you do that in a nutshell. I would like to take the opportunity to show you our website. We have a whole bunch of information on lead and taking care of your water and water quality in general. But one of the questions we get is, what do I do in the meantime? If I have lead, what can I do to protect myself? So there are some tips that you can follow, which I'll just give them real quickly here. We always tell people, run the water before you use it. This is good to increase water quality in general, taste and odor for any house, but especially important in a home with any lead plumbing. If you recall, it's when the water sits in the lead pipes that the longer it sits in there, the more time it has to accumulate the lead. So if you're drinking fresh water, and you're flushing out the lines before you drink or cook with it, studies show that you can drastically reduce the amount of lead just by letting your water run in most cases. So that is the number one tip. That, and to make sure that you're using cold water for cooking, drinking, and preparing baby formula. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not using hot water. It's cold water. But what they really mean is the faucet's still turned to the hot side, but it's not hot because they haven't ran it for a couple of minutes. So it's cooled down, but that's still water that sat in your water heater. And it is water that was warm at one time and went through your plumbing. So always make sure you're using cold, fresh water. And if you don't, running the water every time you use it can get old. So I recommend giving it a good flush. And the rule of thumb there is to let it, to flush it until it gets as cold as it gets, and then 30 seconds to maybe up to 3 minutes longer. And I only say 3 minutes longer because there are a few homes that have super long service lines, but in most cases, 30 seconds is going to be enough. And then fill up a water pitcher with that fresh water that you've just gotten to, and put that in your refrigerator, and then you don't need to worry about flushing it every time you want to drink. Clean your faucet aerators. Those are the screens or plastic thingies on the tips of your faucets. Those can collect lead particles when especially if those galvanized pipes are spitting out things. Routinely clean those out. Depending on how much plumbing you have, old plumbing, you could do that once a month, or you could do it a couple times a year. You always have the option to filter water. And in some very rare instances, there can be some faulty electrical going on with your grounding. Most times, your electrical system is grounded to your water pipe, and if you have an issue there, you could be causing some increased corrosion. Yeah, so I think that's that.
Allison, I did have a follow-up question for you with
Yeah.
the dashboard. If someone's address is on there multiple times, so they have multiple service lines, will the city replace all of those lines?
Yeah, any of them that would qualify, so they need to be lead or galvanized requiring replacement, those would be included.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any additional questions in the chat or Q&A. I'm not seeing any raised hands. Is anyone final call? We'll kind of put those out there as well. Steve, did you have something to add? You can unmute yourself if you'd like.
Maybe a question for Allison, and you may have covered it. So you talked about the 2 areas that we're going to start the work in. When will that work actually begin?
Well, any day. We actually just got a contractor on board, and they are out there. They got pulled away on a leaky service line. So when a service line leaks, it kind of rises to the top of the priority list. So that is what they're starting on, is a leaky lead service line. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll be starting in the rest of the project area.
So residents can expect to see some construction activity in those areas.
Right. We will be in that. I wonder if I can pull up the map. Do I trust my PowerPoint that's been misbehaving? So we'll be starting a little bit in track 18 here this month, and then we'll be switching over to track 5 to get some work done, and then we'll be coming back to track 18 to finish up. Probably when we come back to this track 18, it'll be the second half of, the first half of next year. These are all plans, and of course, plans are subject to change, but that's what they are right now.
So just to clarify, track 5 is what area of the city?
It includes downtown, but we don't have any service lines to replace in that area. So we will be working in the North Bottoms neighborhood, up here.
Okay, perfect. And then track 18, what part of that?
So that's a few different neighborhood associations. It's the very west side of Woods Park neighborhood. Or is it just Woods? Anyway, the Woods neighborhood. And then up here north of between O and Q Street, that's a Holly and Malone neighborhood. And then we have a few commercial properties on the east side of 17th that are technically part of the downtown neighborhood association.
So we did get a question come into the chat. So one of our attendees said, I can see mine, the supply pipe is lead, the service pipe is unknown. Will you take care of the supply pipe and find out if the service pipe is lead or not?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's exactly what we'll do. So during that, the verification step, I'm just going to see if I could just pull up that slide here. So they will come in and they will check what they can find at the water meter. So that gives us a glimpse of what's at the service pipe. And then because your record indicates a lead supply, they will also be digging at the curb stop to determine, to verify that lead is there. And that also lets them see the other side of your service pipe to verify material there. And of course, if lead or galvanized is found, it will be replaced.
And
So-
Allison, if that line, if the service line is copper, even though it's tied to a lead supply line, would the copper line be replaced too?
No, copper is not subject to the kind of contamination effects that galvanized is because it doesn't tuberculate or corrode like galvanized does. So the lead doesn't stick to it.
Thank you. So again, if you're interested in the program, please fill out that agreement that is online. Again, those links are in the chat. You can also visit LeadSafe Lincoln online at the website. We've added that as well. I will do last call for questions. Anything else that anyone would like to ask for our team today?
Just one more comment. We
Yeah,
always
go
like
ahead,
to
Steve.
caution folks that once the lead service line is replaced, the resident could still have exposure to lead due to lead plumbing inside the house. And so this program does not get inside the interior plumbing of the house. So we always caution residents that there could still be some lead exposures from lead piping in the internal plumbing.
And I guess also to add on to that, LeadSafe Lincoln also extends to our partners at Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department. And they deal with looking at other types of sources of lead in your home, such as lead paint and things of that nature. So this is one area where we're taking care of the service line, but there still may be those other sources that you need to look into.
Thank you guys for that additional content and information. Definitely stuff the public needs to know and be aware of. I've added Lincoln Water Systems phone number in the chat again one more time, 402-441-7571. Feel free to give them a call if you have any additional questions. Again, lincoln.ne.gov/LeadSafeLincoln to get all the information on the program. This meeting again was recorded and will be posted on the website here within the next few days. So we appreciate everyone joining us today. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see everyone soon. Thank you.